Welcome to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. There's been a lot of talk about real estate recently, especially with all of the interest rate hikes. I know of many people who just purchased their new home and others are staying away from real estate. There's a dichotomy in how people perceive real estate at this time. On today's show, I want to discuss the fiduciary duties that a real estate agent must abide by, what to look for when buying a property, what to look for when selling a property, and what to look for when becoming a real estate investor. To help us understand the buying and selling of real estate properties, I'm joined by Matilda Nestoroska, broker, RE/MAX Aboutowne Realty Corp in Oakville. To begin with, let's look at hiring a real estate agent. Matilda, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me over.
Sorry, your firm, RE/MAX Aboutowne Realty, just seems to be a mouthful for me today. I'm not sure what's going on here. But what I want to do is I want to talk about the difference between a client and a customer representation in the real estate transaction.
Yes, and I would say majority of people don't even know that it exists. Okay, so in province of Ontario, you can be represented as a customer. This is self-represented party, or as a client to which we owe fiduciary duties. Now, this information must be explained to parties before signing any documents, and that's where majority of agents actually fail. They don't explain it properly. So simple example for that would be if someone comes into my open house and they say they don't have or they don't need an agent, they just want me to prepare an offer. They will not be represented by me. They will be customers, and I don't need to give them any advices. I don't need to do anything for them, just physically prepare an offer. And you definitely don't want to be that.
You know, it's really interesting because I always talk about reading the fine print. Read what you're signing, and a lot of people don't. They just look at the piece of paper, sign, and think that they're going to be okay. So that's a really important part that you had talked about. Let's talk about the kind of fiduciary duties that you owe to a client.
Yeah, so to a client, we owe a whole set of fiduciary duties, including full disclosure. Everything and anything we know about the house, the seller, the neighborhood, we have to disclose to our client. We owe them obedience, so we have to obey their lawful instructions. We need to give them competence and consciousness care, so know what we're doing over there. We owe them their loyalty, okay? So they're going to be the first one to receive the information, not the customer. And then we owe them accounting. We have to treat them money better than if it was ours. So if they say the availability is up to 700, you should show them less than 700, not definitely above that.
That's important. So can a client cancel a contract prior to an expiry date?
Absolutely can. And a lot of agents probably hate me right now. But that's absolutely the truth. If you're really unsatisfied with the agent's performance, you should ask for cancellation of the agreement, which must be signed by all parties, including the broker of record. And not just that, I would advise them to go a step further and explain to broker of record what went wrong. So maybe it was a new agent and it's inexperienced, so they can provide them extra training so no mistakes are done again. Or if someone is just want to be sloppy, and they should definitely deserve the slap on the wrist.
Okay, so what are buyers' options with these crazy rates, and how can you actually qualify to buy with extreme high pre-qualifying stress test rate of 9.5%? I know that's a mouthful,
yes,
but it's an important mouthful.
It's gonna be like pulling teeth without an anesthesia, okay? So banks are trying to help right now, and they are allowing the parents come on a title. So this is a perfect time for you to be nice to your parents and siblings. Most of banks actually will ask them to be on a mortgage and on a title, but I know a few banks that actually don't. So you can just help you to qualify. Otherwise, you on your own, it's not going to work.
So with so much information out there, everybody's got information at their fingertips. Why do you think buyers actually need a realtor?
Because of so many information, they actually really need an agent to sift through all that false information that's out there. We have a lot of websites sharing our listings, which we're really thankful for, but they go a step further and they do some estimates, which are completely wrong. No algorithm can take in consideration what the buyer is willing to pay, and that's exactly what buyers do lately with those multiple offers. They just go above and beyond, and even us experienced agents, our jaws drop when we see how much they sold for.
Okay, so when we come back, we're going to personalize a little bit more, and we're going to talk about, what needs to be done when you are buying a property and the steps that need to be taken to protect yourself. So don't go away. We'll be back with more of Matilda and what to do when you're purchasing a property for yourself. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. On today's episode, we're discussing buying, selling, and investing in real estate. So, Matilda, what are the most common mistakes that people do when they're purchasing a property?
So the most common one is them going outside and putting offers on properties without getting written pre-approval. Just by them going online and on those computer websites where they have those calculators doesn't mean you actually qualified for that. Because calculator doesn't count that you are just started new job and you're on probation. So you're not getting a mortgage at all. They don't calculate it because of your low credit score. You're not even qualified for that rate. So your purchase ability is going even more down. Another thing they need to know is about the down payment. Where's your money coming from? This is country of immigrants. Most of people are bringing money from outside. Do they know that most of banks will require minimum of 3 months that money to sitting in this account? And they just made an offer closing in 3 weeks? That's not going to work out. And simply put, I think the third and the worst one for us is going without an agent. You need an agent who's going to represent you and you only.
So, what should buyers be aware of when they're reviewing properties?
Before even go out, they should go online and do the position of the house. Check it. If they're backing out the big highways or like roads or maybe train tracks, anything that might be a problem down the road to sell it or you don't like it, don't waste your time and don't drive. Another big thing is to know the age of the house. From 1995 to 2007, there was a huge problems with high-tech plumbing. I bet you 70% of agents don't even know what a high-tech plumbing is, unfortunately. But that's why you need to have an inspection. Also, the houses from 1965 to 76, they had aluminum wiring. Now, all these problems will cause you not to get a mortgage because insurance are not going to take that house as is. You will have to, and without insurance, you can't get a mortgage. So make sure you check that before you go there and have an inspection for sure.
So, how can buyers have their offer attractive to the opposite now, the seller, in multiple offer situations? Because it gets really difficult at that time. And you still have the conditions on financing and inspection fulfilled.
Yes, so that's a tough one. So lately, the sellers, of course, in multiple offers, they want a deal done fast and they don't want anybody to back off. So when we say firm offer, that means here's my money, see you on the closing. When we say conditional, that means I'm buying it, but if I get this fulfilled. Now, what I tell you every single time, the seller will take the lower offer that's firm over the higher offer with the conditions. So how we bypass that? We actually when we list those houses, we give it a week or so time. So you have plenty of time to see the house, send the listing, and speak with your bank to approve the amount that you can go for, so you can knock down that one. And then you have enough time to do an inspection too before the actual offer presentation day. That way, you fulfilled your conditions and we still go in firm.
So what do you do when all of a sudden you want this house, you love this house? Because when people see it, they see themselves living in the house, they see their future in this house, it's their house in their mind. But then all of a sudden you've got multiple offers and people start a bidding war.
So this is where your agent actually has to do the due diligence and see when to pull the plug. So I tell my clients, based on the most recent sales, and that's what I think how much this house is worth to you, I tell you, I'm comfortable until this price. You can go more than that, but then you take a responsibility of maybe not getting the mortgage for that amount of money, and then you will have to find the difference. If you can't find the difference, you're in pickle.
Yeah, no kidding. And what do you look for when purchasing? Let's move it to a condo now instead of a house. You want to live in a condo. What do you look for?
So you have to know end goal. What is your end goal? Why are you buying this condo? Is it for you to live there forever, or maybe just to be a jumping board so within 3-4 years you sell it and you go into a better place? If that's the case, then you need to buy the condo that appreciates a lot, which means there's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of rentals, so you kind of have to suck it up for a few years. Yeah. But if you want to be living there for a very long time and you want quiet time, then you're going to need to look into different buildings, and you need to ask your lawyer to check status certificate for what's the ratio for the rental properties in those buildings.
Okay, so let's talk about the right time to buy. Everybody has a different time frame in their mind. So what exactly is the right time to buy?
So the right time is when you're ready. Forget the summertime, forget the market down, market up. That doesn't mean anything to you. Who cares if the market is down if you don't have money for down payment or if your life is different? So when you're ready emotionally and financially, it's time for you to buy. Even if the market is high, if you sit on a house for the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to catch up and you're golden.
Okay, so when we come back, we're going to flip it and we're going to start talking about selling. If you're selling a property and what to look for and red flags or whatever it is, just to help other people that are in the position of selling. And so don't go away. We will be right back with more real estate buying, selling, and investing. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. On today's episode, we're discussing buying, selling, and investing in real estate. So how much, we're going to go over to selling right now. We're going to shift our focus. How much in advance should a seller contact a real estate professional before they actually list the property for sale?
So if you want to be perfect, we would say 6 to 9 months in advance.
There's no such thing as perfect.
Absolutely. But perfect for seller not to be too stressed out. Okay, so I'm trying to prevent them from that stress, and I say 6 to 9 months in advance. So let's say you plan to send next spring, early spring or winter, contact the agent right now because they have to go through the house, see if anything needs to be done so you can do it slowly. So you don't have that headache, and maybe you can find out the money for it. Another thing, you want your agent to take pictures during the summer. So exterior pictures of your house, your beautiful backyard with those, pool, whatever you have in there. Because when the winter comes, people like to look at those pictures, sunny ones, that more likely they're going to come and see your home.
So I know a lot of people that think, oh my goodness, I need to paint, I need to renovate because I'm going to sell my house. What do you say to people who think, oh no, I've got to put all this money in so that I can get it out?
I said, stop before you talk to me first. There are some things that brings money and some things that don't. In the best market, you're going to get 50 cents back on your dollar spent. So if you just spend thousands of dollars on that landscape, you just lost a lot of money. CMHC says that's bathroom, kitchen, and the paint, what sells the home. So I say, instead of spending money on that backyard, let's put a new granite countertop. It's going to look nice. And leave the painting for just before we put it on the market, because that fresh smell of the paint is something that people really love to see.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because I've often heard as well that the fresh smell of baked cookies helps sell a home as well.
Yes, it does. But I always say, cookies fine. Don't do those air freshener because there's a lot of people who are allergic to it. There's some people who hate those smells. And even one more thing, do not put the music on. Like I see that all the time, people playing jazz, people playing like different type of music. Don't, because you don't know what the other side likes. You want to appeal to everybody, not just somebody.
Okay, so let me ask you the question as well, because I've heard many times that, take down all your family photos, because if you've got your family photos, this is you in the house with your family, and it hinders people's thought process of placing themselves and their family in the home.
They feel like intruders, right? So you're trying to depersonalize it and let them feel like they're home. So you don't want even want to say welcome home because that's your home, right? This is a house for you. So you want to depersonalize it. You need the staging in there done properly, especially if the property is vacant.
Okay, so let's talk about staging, because some people think it's such a waste of time and money and energy. Why is staging important?
Statistics show that 5 to 10% stage homes will sell for more than unstaged homes. So I think that staging is pretty well done. The other thing, people can't imagine the furniture in the house. Again, if the property is vacant, a lot of times I have buyers going, oh my God, this is so tiny. I said, no, you can fit in the bed in there. So don't even do the virtual staging. I know those companies hate him now, but they're going to attract buyers.
It's all good.
They're going to attract buyers to go in. But once they go into that small condo, they're going to say, this is too small. You absolutely must stage, and you must stage it in a way that buyer is going to come in. So your agent has to figure out who's going to be the buyer for that property and stage it in such a way.
Okay, so I'm a first-time homeowner, and I need to sell, but I also need to buy. Which one do I do first?
So we need to determine which market are you in as a seller and which market you're going to be in as a buyer. So if you're in the same type of market, it's easier to determine. But if, let's say you're in a seller's market, so we would say go find yourself a place first and then sell your home fast and we should be fine. But if your market like right now, it's really wonky, I would say do not do anything until you have firm agreement of purchase and sale. Ask for long closing, 3 to 4 months, so you have enough time to go and find yourself a place.
Okay, so we have about a minute left before we go to commercial break. What questions should sellers ask real estate professionals before they actually sign any contract with them?
Yes, so forget about their number ones in everything. That's ridiculous. Usual numbers, how much faster their listing sell than the other ones, how much more money they have at the end, and forget those multiple offers because I know they're underlisted, so those numbers are not real. The most important thing is what is going to be their marketing plan for your home. No two homes would have the same marketing plan. So they, again, have to work the backwards. They need to check the socioeconomics report and demographics report to see who is that perfect buyer. And then from the pictures, from virtual tours, from the music on it, everything has to match that same buyer that's going to come.
Okay, so when we come back, we're going to talk about investing in real estate. So please don't go away. We'll be right back with more real estate buying, selling, and investing. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. On today's episode, we're discussing buying, selling, and investing in real estate. I'm joined by Matilda Nestoroska, broker Remax Aboutowne Realty Corp in Oakville, Ontario. Okay, so now we're switching again to investing in real estate. What's your definition of a real estate investor?
I have a very unique, and it's my own, okay? So you need to have 3 strengths. The first one is you have to be great at math. And I'm not saying calculator, I'm going to use computer thing. You really need to know the math. Seriously, you need to know the math. Second one, you need to have money. Money not just for down payment and the closing costs. You must have enough funds to cover for a minimum of 6 months to a year of not receiving any rent. That's when you know you're safe. Mm-hmm. And the third one, my favorite, you have to have a good stomach. And I don't mean the 6-packs. I mean to have great stomach to handle all that stress and all that risk that you have to take.
Yeah, that's a lot. And a lot of people don't think about that.
No, they don't.
That's really important. So if we're talking about investing in real estate, which is a better investment? Is it a condo, or would it be like a low-rise structure such as a townhouse or even a home?
So I divide those into groups. So the first one, condos, I call them low stress, low maintenance. And then houses, townhouses, they're high maintenance and high stress. There's always going to be something wrong with it. So it's depending, again, where your stomach is. Yeah. How good are you with that stuff? I like the stress-free, so condos are my favorite ones. But I can also show you, a lot of times people think that they're going to make more money if they buy a house. They just see the lump sum money, but they don't see actually how much they went in at the beginning with. So when I show them return on investment percentage, I can show them that a condo often makes more money than the houses. So for someone who's just starting, I would advise just go with a condo, start small, see how it goes, and then if you still want that house, go for it.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about money, we've talked a lot about investing, but what do you need to know before purchasing an investment property with a partner?
Ooh, that's a fun one. So you need to speak with accountant and 2 sets of lawyer. So corporate law lawyer and contract law lawyer and a real estate lawyer, because you need to know what you're putting yourself into. People often trust each other too much. No, we don't need anything on paper. You must absolutely have everything on paper. Who's going to be covering down payment? Who's going to be doing the maintenance? Who's going to be doing the tenant screening? All these things have to be written down so there is no confusion after. So many court cases are out there with those trust issues, yeah. Right? So family got broken over it, not worth it. You can have contract and still love your family.
So, okay, location. How do you choose it?
Okay, so I usually advise don't go more than 40 to 50 minutes drive, and that's in a rush hour, regardless which one you're using, especially if you're going with the low rise, you have to be available to go there. Once we know how far you're going to go, then we go, which type of property do you want to go? Do you want a small with like a little maintenance, or you want to go the other one? So based on that, you choose that one, but we need to know that there is a lot of appreciation. We want to see minimum 8 to 10% yearly appreciation to be considered a good investment.
Okay, so when is the best time to purchase an investment property?
My favorite guy is Warren Buffett. And he once said, be fearful when everybody's greedy and be greedy when everybody's fearful. How does that relate to the real estate? So when everybody's buying, there are multiple offers and everybody's bidding wars, we investors, we sit on the sidelines. We just patiently wait. When market is down, like right now, that's when you go out and shine. We go and we buy low. And another thing you need to know, when market is low, the rents are extremely high because a lot of buyers are booted out of the market or they decide to rent more. So we have actually bidding wars on rents. So we buy low, we rent high, and we just sit and wait. What goes down must go up. So we just wait for our time to come, and then we're going to sell and just grow our portfolio.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom with us.
Oh, I'm glad to share.
Thanks for being here. In Canada, if you're a first-time home buyer, you can withdraw up to $35,000 from your registered retirement savings plan, also known as the RRSP. Now, if you withdraw funds from your RRSP, you must repay the withdrawn funds within 15 years. We also have the First Home Savings Account, also known as the FHSA, which allows you a lifetime contribution of $40,000 and an annual contribution limit of $8,000. Now, the good news is that you can withdraw amounts from both your RRSP and FHSA and make qualifying withdrawals as long as you meet all of the conditions at the time of each withdrawal per person whose name goes on the title. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski, and I'm here to empower you and make frugality fashionable. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.